yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have it douse, not what I'm about, have your f***ing cloud, it be raining now. I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now.
You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
Hey guys, Coach Dan here. Start of another week. The thing I have been thinking about lately is what we do here in the gymnasium is something that has to be repeated very, very regularly for a long period of time. I think when people first get into the gym, they might think, it'll take 6 weeks, I'll be in the best shape ever, blah, 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 blah. And you can do some good stuff in short periods of time, but ultimately where most of your outcomes that you're after really lie months and years into the future, but people want to get in, get it done and get out basically. But yeah, if your best outcome is going to come years into the future, you might have to learn to really enjoy what you're doing, because otherwise you'll just be miserable for years until you kind of get to an outcome, and maybe you'll be happy there, or maybe the outcome will then be further down the track and stuff like that. So it really brings home the fact that you need to enjoy it. You need to find some sort of joy, satisfaction, fun in what you do in a gym. Or if the gym's not for you, running or swimming or cycling or whatever it might be, find some joy in it, because again, your best outcomes, your best marathon time, your best whatever you endurance people do, it's not this week, next week, this month, next month. It's like months and then years into the future where you're really hitting your best performances. And in the gym, you're getting your best strength gains and your best muscle mass and stuff like that. So enjoy the process. It comes and it repeats. And, this week for me is no different than last week. We have to try really hard. We have big focus, intensity, execution are all kind of words that I'm thinking about before my workouts at the moment. So come back, revisit, get a little bit better, keep going, come back, revisit, get a little bit better, and so on and so forth, until years into the future you see some pretty sweet outcomes. But yeah, if you don't enjoy the day-to-day, the week-to-week grind, as the people say, you're not likely to stick with it. Times like now, it's cold and those tough times, we have to find joy and satisfaction in the weekly and daily grind of it all. Anyway, that's me off of my high horse. Today we go push day, and as the introduction has said, it's the same push day as last week, with trying to work on progression, trying to get better, trying to make my technique better, trying to lift a little bit heavier or do a couple extra reps or whatever it might be, and that's that. We just keep smashing out. Last week was good. This week, we're aiming to be just as good. All right. We head Smith machine incline bench press. If it's available, I'll see you there. Exercise numero uno, low incline Smith machine bench press. So just like talking about being consistent over the course of time, there's potentially having a consistent exercise per muscle group that you can kind of look over the course of time and see if that's going up. So I track all my lifts, but if you're not that way inclined, you just you have an exercise is effective, feels good for you. If you keep that in your rotation, at least in some capacity over the course of time, you can come back and go, I was doing it this weight for this reps, and I can come back and know that I'm doing better. So it doesn't always have to be heaps of variations. Sometimes you've got a standard exercise that you kind of keep there a lot of the time, and can last and do well for you over a long period of time, and you can see that you're doing better on that exercise. Other times you kind of rotate it in and out, and then eventually see, that has gone up, even though I've been practicing all those other exercises as well. So for my incline Smith machine bench press, essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to set the bench angle up such that we're trying to target the upper pec. So we want to kind of see our arm go in this kind of direction as I'm pressing. Obviously my arm's not going across there, I'm doing this, but if I were to continue my arm path, it would eventually kind of head in that direction. And that slight angle up means there's potential that it's kind of working towards the upper pec, or at least not using the lower pec as much. So we need to set the bench up and the positioning of the bench correctly, because this only goes up and down in a straight line. Hand position is another variable to consider. Something that's comfortable for you is usually a good starting point. So all the other pressing cues are appropriate here. Control the way down, gentle tap, press up. Nothing to it. Let's get in there. Let's see if we can't best our performance last week. Come on, push it. So we come off of the incline bench press on the Smith machine and we go to a flat chest press. So this one here, I do a couple of unique things. I've got this yoga block down here for increased range of motion. This is quite a good machine. As far as resistance goes, we've got two handle options. I take the one on the outside here, but there will be nothing wrong with taking the one on the inside as well. So the same cues when pressing on here apply to the Smith machine apply here. So pushing up strong, control the way down, feel the chest stretch out, push up strong. A couple of sets here, and then we move on to our isolation work. All right, next up we're going to do a cable fly. So for this version of a cable fly, I set the bench in front of this cable machine. I angle the cables slightly below the level of horizontal, so it's a slight upward angle. Therefore, potentially, we're trying to work a little bit more towards the upper pec. So that's a little bit of a focus of mine at the moment, is like a lot of this. So I've got an incline movement today on my incline press. We've done one flat movement, and now we're going back to incline. So that's more of an emphasis in the lower part of the chest for me. So we keep that going. We've got 2 sets here, our isolation work, then we work on some of the other push muscles.
Next up, we have my funky lateral raise variation. So this one is a unique one and not absolutely necessary. I've just tried it and it felt good. So as it relates to the deltoids or the shoulders, I like to just challenge them from, and if we're talking specifically the lateral deltoid, I'll take different lateral raise variations and use them for a period of time and then kind of sub them out. And, you know, I see some potential merit in that. Like potentially they do slightly different things in different positions, or different fibers of the shoulder do different things. So, you know, one I was doing recently was a double behind the back lateral raise. This one here is one that's kind of coming right into my body, which I'll show you in a sec. Over the course of time, we could do one across the front of the body, and they would all be using the lateral delt and just in slightly different ways. And I think that's worthwhile. I mean, as long as they all feel similarly effective. If you've got one that's outright much better than others, you'd probably be more biased to using that one over the course of time, but this one's good as well. So this is quite unique in that I'm going to set the cable directly under my crutch, and that's going to make sense why in a second. You want it low enough that when I go to do a raise variation, because it's coming through my legs, it doesn't smash you in the stuff that you have there. So it's set like that. I've got these cuffs on, and that just means I don't have to hold on to anything, which again, it feels nice to me. It means I can just focus on the muscles I want working. So I've got it between the legs. I'll take a bit of that tension and I'll turn 45. And then essentially I'm just raising out in line with where I've set the cable. So the cable is directly out. So if I know the cable's going to be pointing that way, I'll take tension, turn 45 away, and then I've got my variation. And again, this is just moving the shoulder in a slightly different path than say doing it behind the body, front of the body, and I don't really have any other reason other than that it feels effective to me, and I'm just using it in a slightly different way, which I think is worthwhile over the course of time. All right, let's smash it out. Plate loaded shoulder press next. So for this one, I only do 2 sets of this. My anterior deltoid gets a lot of love on other movements. So anterior deltoid kind of attaches to the side of the arm, the deltoid tuberosity, and then comes and attaches to the lateral part of the clavicle or collarbone. So you're thinking for us to best use the anterior deltoid, we're bringing the hand kind of towards the arm towards the head. But on things like our presses, our flies, all that kind of stuff, we are sort of doing that movement as well. So the anterior deltoid should contribute significantly to those. So you think fly, presses, all that kind of stuff. And although we're trying to bias those towards the chest, there's no sort of getting the anterior deltoid to completely switch off or not work. It's kind of going to help. When all hands are on deck, all your muscle fibers that you have that could potentially help with the job are going to. So if you're close to failure on things, the anterior delt, the pec, everything's going to, be working at max capacity to kind of get you through that thing essentially. So anyway, with all that said, all those exercises use the anterior deltoid, but I do this plate loaded shoulder press just to cap it off. 2 sets here, trying to make sure that the focus is not only, but mostly on that anterior deltoid, whereas all the other movements are mostly on the chest or, the triceps working as well. So triceps here again. Anyway, the idea is we're trying to get the anterior deltoid to be the limiting factor here, right? So how we're going to do that is we're going to position it such that arm moves towards the head. We get into this nice deep stretch position for the anterior deltoid and arm back towards the head. I take a neutral grip, plant the feet on the ground, get that stability of the head, and yeah, and now I'm thinking about driving my arm towards my head. So instead of just simply thinking push up, I'm thinking pull my arm in towards my head, because that's the job of the anterior deltoid. 2 sets only, because it's done work on all the other stuff. Then we're triceps isolation, then we out. Bop, 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 bop. Let's go. Alright, so we're mixing it up a little bit today. So, most recently, I've been working the easy bar skull crusher. I kind of threw in a V-bar pushdown last week, but it didn't feel very effective. So I'm going to go to an incline dumbbell skull crusher. So change the resistance a touch, change the movement just a smidge. My hand position will be a little bit different, and just vary it a little bit. It's been a long time since I've done this one, so I look forward to seeing if it feels effective. So we're on the incline, which changes when the movement essentially gets hard versus gravity compared to the easy bar. We can get lots of elbow flexion on this one, which I like, so it's a big elbow flexion. And maybe on the easy bar, we're limited by the range of the bench. Essentially, you'll run into the bench before you kind of potentially can get to full elbow flexion. So this one might have a slight advantage in that. Maybe a disadvantage is the stability. But the last time I did this might have been back in November 2024 or so, I reckon. And so, you know, a fair chunk of time later, we'll see if it is effective. On my program, I've got it as it was pretty effective. I count it as an 8.5 out of 10 as far as stimulus goes. So, to me, that says it's good. The fact that I've logged it in times gone by means I know my personal record, so I can kind of figure out quickly what weight to use and kind of get started pretty quickly. All right, let's go. Okay, that's a wrap on the workout, guys. Nothing wrong with a good push workout on a Monday. Ease away into the week with a bit of fun, because we know hack squats come tomorrow and there's a bit of discomfort to be had there. So happy with today's workout on those dumbbell skull crushers on the incline. That will take a little bit of learning, I think. I think the stability element might be a factor. And yeah, but potentially that stretch, that deep stretch that you can get by the dumbbell going really nice and deep, might be worth continuing doing that movement. Yeah, I mean, it didn't feel super effective, but that's the first time I've done it in a long time. So I'll give it a couple of weeks. If it's no better than one of my other preferred exercises that I know I get a really good stimulus for, it gets put in the back seat or maybe eliminated. No, I'm just kidding. It just might be an exercise I don't do because I know there's more effective ones out there. So, but other than that, she was a pretty good session. Failed that incline Smith machine bench press. Kind of went for that last rep, failed it. Lucky you had to look on the, and that's the thing about the Smith machine. You want to be It's hard if you get pinned on the Smith machine, so being certain about your safeties are really important, because you can't roll the bar off. Like if you flat bar bench pressing, or free weight bench pressing, should I say, you just kind of roll the bar over you and you can kind of get out. The Smith machine, no bueno. So you got to make sure you've got your safety set at the correct height. And yeah, when you time to fail, just fail and get on with life. Don't grind it such that it's going to pin you down. Otherwise, you might be screaming for help, and people might be across the gym, and they don't know that you're not really having a great time. So, all right, as I said, hack squats tomorrow. So we're gonna get fired up for that one. Get in there, smash it out. Want to get me some juicy quads. And hack squat really buckled me last week, as far as like my quads were all sore. My quads were sore all the way until my next lower body workout, which affected that. So that indicates to me that it was obviously a very effective stimulus. Adding it back in was brutal, and definitely not going to do any more work than I did last time at that, because I couldn't recover in time. So I'll do the same work, and then hopefully then later in the week, this time round, after doing it for 1 week, I'll be able to recover and also smash my leg presses out as well. As always, guys, if you like the content, please hit the little subscribe man up here. Doesn't cost you a thing. Easy peasy. Subscribe, great for the channel. And hit the playlist if you want to see some more muscle groups, some more workouts, how I'm training some of the other stuff. And as always, it's about progress over perfection. Coach Dan, signing off.